Good evening, everyone. I want to start with asking you a question. Why we all get surprised when things doesn't go our way? People feel like it's a conspiracy. Why when things doesn't appear the way I want them to be? Why when it even go completely the opposite of what I was thinking, right? In one hand, I wanted something like that to appear, and then something else completely happened. How is it possible? What gets us the wrong results or the wrong reality that we haven't asked for? We didn't want that, right? But if you understand from a Kabbalistic point of view, everything is consciousness. Everything that you see or you don't see, everything that is within this world or not within this world is all consciousness. And that's what dictates our reality. So if I understand that idea, all what I need is to work on my consciousness with what this world is structured and built and geared for the sake of helping us producing more and more. That's the only consciousness exists in this world. In this reality, it's all about producing more. It's all about giving us more. So how come I don't get the result I want, or even I don't have results at all? So if I'm here, and it seems like that's true, that it's all this world wants to give me, it's everything, I understand that the reason it doesn't have what I look for, or it doesn't look like what I was asking for, it's because of one thing. It's us and our consciousness. It has to be the starting point of all our life. So we know that whatever was in the seed level or wasn't in the seed level, that which would appear or not. Right? If you plant any seed in the ground, right, that particular tree, that particular reality will be manifesting, nothing else than that, or less or more, exactly. Therefore, what happened when I realize or I see something that appear that is not what I asked for, it's not what I wanted, it's not what I actually intend for? First, it's important for all of us to understand. It is my doing. Yeah, but I didn't ask for it. It is my doing. I did something else appear. It is my doing. It is the birth of my consciousness, but I didn't even think about it. Yes. Now, again, at the moment you get disappointed or you get upset, or you get surprised, I didn't want that, that's not what we wanted, that's not what I asked for. You go to a vacation, you come to the hotel, and that's what they told you is going to be, and then no, that's not the service that they say. Everything is there in the consciousness. Everything is there in the seed level. Everything is a birth of you. It's an extension of you. Everything that you see in this world, in your life or not, is an extension of you. If that is what the Kabbalists explain to us. If I see a reality that appeared to be, oh, I didn't ask for it, I don't like it, that's not what we were talking about. First is don't get too surprised from that. Don't get too affected by that. Don't get freezing by that, right? Don't get froze by that, from the lack of results, or stop, or says, I'm done with this life. Don't give up. At the moment that things appear wrong, or at least in your reality or in your perception, it's wrong, right? If you get too upset about it, if you get too caught up with what it appeared to be, at that moment, you close any other option and you put yourself and you causing yourself more darkness. As opposed to understand that if I see something that appear or don't appear the way I want, and I'm saying to myself, you know what? Somewhere in the seed level, somewhere in this reality, I was injecting that consciousness, or I didn't inject that consciousness as I intend to do something. And if I don't react to that end result, and I say to myself, I understand that something in my consciousness wasn't complete. Something in my consciousness wasn't absolute. Something in my consciousness was not total commitment to that idea, or to that business, or to that work, or to this relationship, right? Then there's an opening. There's an opening for you to take the next level, or to get something even better than what you intended for. But if you fall in that moment, you fail that test, right? You failed that moment, you failed that reality, you got too reactive to what appeared to be the reality without taking any responsibility. Therefore, you bring yourself more into a dark place or limited place, as opposed to you wait. Maybe it's not what I was intended for. Maybe that's not what it seems like in the picture. Some of us going on a date with somebody, and in the picture we all putting the best salesman, right? The best salesperson in the picture, right? When you were young, when you were at your best, right? In the right position. Then you go to the meeting and you see somebody like, what? That's not. But pause, wait a second. It's not a mistake. It's not, oh, they deceived me, they lied to me, they told me they're so beautiful, and I see someone not. If you're not falling into it, that particular interaction will open for you something greater than that, than what you even wanted. That is the technique I would like you to start using every single day. And it's a technique that always works and give you even more greater surprises and greater results from totally what you didn't expect. So what caused that birth, that power to be revealed, and what is the cause that can give me more power or stronger power, right? So for example, if I work on something, or if I want relationship, or if I want to open a business and I want to come up with an idea or a product or whatever it is that you intend to do, what you want to think about, right, is that I would like this relationship. And again, this is the consciousness you want to have. This is the consciousness that can help you bringing much closer, much faster, much stronger what you're looking for in life. One, right, in the idea or the project or the desire that you intend to do. That particular desire has to be not just using for me, not has to be just serving me. If anything that I want, just serving me. And again, it doesn't, let's say, for example, even you go to a restaurant and you want the perfect meal, right? I want to enjoy a great meal. Make sure that that the meal is not just about you want to enjoy, it's you awaken for yourself more strength, so you can, go and help other people, right? Everything that you do, that you intend to do, that you desire to do, make sure that there is an influence within that giving, within that moment, within that desire, within that project, within that relationship. Some people don't realize after so many years that they started a relationship and they are in relationship with somebody. I don't know why the relationship didn't work. Ask yourself, what was your agenda attracting that individual? Oh, because they're pretty. Oh, because they have money. Oh, because they have some other thing beside the desire to be together, to influence the world in goodness. Something else. Therefore, each one of us, sometimes getting in relationship, many of the relationships just get broken or really not succeeding because in the seed level, the desire of the individuals was mostly for themselves. I don't want to be alone. I need somebody with me. I don't want to spend my life alone, so I got to have some companionship. This always gets you into trouble because when it's so small, when it's all about you in this, what you're doing, and even your work. Even you go to work and you're working so hard. Why? So everybody see how of a hard worker you are. And eventually there are no fruits within your work. So I hope that is, that is very important to remember. Why it is this week very important, that shift between what am I desiring and what is the outcome, right? I desire one thing, something else come out. It's not possible. Why it's not possible? Because if I desire something, let's say I ask somebody here, can you give me water? And they give me a juice. I didn't ask for it, right? But for some reason, they heard me saying juice, right? So in a way, I need to drink it. And again, doesn't mean I need to drink it, but for some reason, there's a reason I needed to, maybe taste that juice. Maybe there's a mineral within it. Then when there's a vitamins within it, I need that particular moment. Who knows? But when I'm blocking that right away, I'm reacting to it right away, I will never see what was the reason. And therefore, I will always live life in like surprise. I'm not sure why. It's not, let's see. We don't live things for chances or mistake or coincidence. Maybe it's going to happen. This week, it's called the portion of Toldot. Toldot is the Toldot. It's the birth of, the lineage of, the creation of, right? This is the name of this week. And within this week, we know that it's the birth, of course, of Jacob and Esau. There are different, many beautiful secrets within this week. But I want to connect to the idea of between each one of us, or to each one of us, have what we call that Esau part and the Jacob part. Now they're coming from the same place. They're all the kids of Rebecca, right? Of Rivka. And we know that they are twins even. But one is one consciousness that is represent what we call Esau, right? Represent these two voices within us. These two energy forces within us. That each one of those forces pushing to its own direction. Therefore, our struggle is not to feel bad when I have two different forces. It's like the story goes that Rebecca was pregnant. And every time she walking around a place where there are idol worshiper or negativity, she would feel kick in the stomach. And every time she go through next to a place where they study, or a happy moment, a happy place, or some kind of a beautiful event, she feel a kick in the stomach. And she went to the prophet and she says, I have a trouble. He said, what's the problem? He says, every time I go here, I feel kicking. Every day I feel kicking. He says, okay, you have twins. And then she relaxed. Why would she relax when she is still having the same kicking inside? Because Rebecca thought she have one child. And the one child that is a mixture of good and bad, it's very difficult to deal with. What does it mean for our life? It means that most of us are most of the time finding ourselves like Switzerland, right? I'm in the middle. I'm not sure. Let's see. If I tell you to be absolute spiritual, if I tell you to be completely spiritual, you says, I'm a little bit of this, I'm a little bit of that, right? I'm doing something good, but also sometimes not so good. Most of us are pretty okay staying a little bit good and a little bit bad. And what do you want? Everybody is like that. No, that is what stops us from completing what we came here to do, or even seeing what you came here to do. If I'm allowing myself to be on the fence, I never, anyway. So you're asking me, you're telling me, Benjamin, to be negative? Better to exhaust all your negativity right? Let's say you have some kind of an ego. Okay, let's go with that ego. Let's say where it's going to take you. You have some selfishness. Go with the let's see how far it's going to take you. And then when you exhaust all these options of the selfishness or negativity, or go to the clubs, go exhaust all the traveling, go do all what you think you think you need to do. But once you realize that doesn't give you or even get you closer to where you want it to be, or where you intend, your soul intend to be, then you choose the other path. And when you exhaust all negativity, then you choose. And once you choose, each time you choose, you have to be absolutely full commitment to that. So therefore, ESO, what ESO represent in our life to us, who is ESO within our life? It's not an individual. Obviously, it seems like negative, but it's not. ESO is anytime I want just for myself, I'm activating the force called ESO, right? ESO knew that he was a hard worker, right? He was working so hard. He was almost like a farmer, right? Working the land, producing. I plant. I know what I'm planting. I know where I'm going to have the fruits, right? Like all of us. I'm going to work. I'm working 8 hours. I know where the money comes. I know I need to pay the rent. Everything. I'm by the book. Everything is good, but not everything is good. Because it seems like even though I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm still don't feel fulfilled. Because this reality, the material reality, the physical reality, never meant to give you the fulfillment that you intend to receive in this world. Never. It can give you what it can, which is 1%. So it can give you 100% of the 1% fulfillment. Eat the table, eat your car, eat all the food in the world. It's still 1% of the experience. 100%, but 1%. Unlike the voice of Jacob, which is, again, I really like the idea of ESO because most of us, sometimes don't really pay attention, but we are mostly robotically acting like that. Like, what have you done for me lately? Have you heard yourself saying that? When you ask, what have you done for me lately? Right? What is it for me in that moment? What is it? What's in it for me here? What's in it for me there? What? Oh, let's see. I'm gonna come to the class. Let's see what's in it for me. Even now, spiritual study, you come for what's in it for me, for myself. You come with your ESO. Yeah, think about it. This is how robotic it is. This is how we are so clouded by this energy. So therefore, this type of reality always get complicated. The reality of ESO was always complicated, was always messed up, was always like too many details, unimportant information. Every time I'm connecting to Jacob, it's the voice of my soul. It's the voice of kindness. It's the voice of the big picture. It's the voice that always tells me take the longer approach. It's the voice that's always, I don't like it, right? Be patient. I don't want to, right? Why they not patient? Why me? Again, that voice always speaks to me. I always have a battle with the voice of ESO. Again, I told you, this is twins. This is always battling each other, right? Because this is what allow you to grow. If you won't have these two voices, there's no way you can grow. There's no way you can grow. But remember, in the story, Jacob come to, it's a beautiful story, but Jacob come to Esau and says, listen, you have the first, because Esau was the firstborn. And he says, you have the blessing of the firstborn. I want to buy it from you. Why do you need that, He says, I'm going to cook for you the most amazing meal. And he cooked for him the lentil soup, right? And he gave him this lentil soup. And Esau sold his firstborn blessing. Now, let me put it in context of what it means, right? Imagine, I don't know, maybe I'm not, it's not a lottery, but imagine you are first in line to be the first astronaut to the moon, right? Imagine from your moment you're born, they says you're going to be the first astronaut to go to the moon. All your life you've been trained to, you will be built to do it. You will be the one who do it. Imagine you train, you did everything. Comes the moment to go on the on that journey. Comes someone and tells you, another friend of yours says, by the way, if I cook for you nice meal, would you give me that that spot in the spaceship after you waited all your life? I mean, again, this is the simple way I can put an example there. But this is how our negative side, this is how our ego can be lured to allow us, to give us all the light that we meant to receive. I just need to give him, right, that lentil soup. And in the other way around, most of us doing the same thing as Esau. We sell our soul for a lentil soup. We sell ourselves so cheap, so easy, so fast, right? I didn't see like I said, let's go back to the beginning. I didn't see that what appeared is what I actually wanted to happen. Right away, I'm selling myself. How? Complaining, I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I'm like lashing out on anybody. That's how I vomit all my negativity on people. Now I feel relaxed, or you go to the manager of the hotel or anything and you start screaming and yelling, and now you relax. You sold your soul. You sold yourself for like a little attention, for a little yes or a little thank you. Imagine people doing so, just give me the thank you. We're selling so short for such a small outcome, and we're losing all the blessings that I said before. Once you're not reacting, once you're not falling into it, another view open, another opportunity greater than what it was before open to you. Please, this is a practical and practice that you want to start activating every single day, the whole day. The whole day you can have opportunities like that. You remember, when Esau was born first, it says that Yaakov Ochez, that's why his name is Yaakov, Jacob, because he was holding the heel of, in Hebrew it says Ekev, just that's Yaakov. He hold him, the negative side, which is the Esau, represent what? Every revelation of light, every revelation of greatness, every revelation that needs to really impact way more than just yourself, it has to be lead or sometime prior to that event, has to have some challenges, some Esau. He wants to come and grab, right? Remember, because the outcome, for example, let's say you have an event, you want to do like a charitable event, right? Or a gala or something. It's a beautiful thing. I want to share, I want to help an organization, whatever. Ask the people who arrange the event. Tell me how much chaos exists in the arranging of the event. And you will see. But I want to do something good. Try to arrange a wedding, right? Tell me if there's no chaos arranging a wedding. Any great event, hosting people, always chaos. Because Esau is there, wants to grab. If you fall into it, the whole event is controlled by, you sold the whole event, all that light in a lentil soup. But you're not falling into it. You realize that's exactly part of the plan. That's but why people has to be so negative? It's exactly how they need to be. I'm not going to fall into it. I want to connect to my Jacob. And as soon as I don't let it be guiding me, I'm not falling into it, an opening is created. Very important that we will start using this technique. Again, it's technique that exists since the moment of creation. And these conduits teaching us, it's not today's self-help. This is a technique that exists for thousands and thousands of years. You know, people forget or want to forget that we have all of it. You know, if you open the books of Kabbalah, you open the Zohar, you realize today people writing things and people coming up with amazing talks and amazing, really inspirational, all the TikTok and all the Instagram, you know, and all the YouTube fill up with stuff that we're doing right now, even what we're sharing. But it's amazing that it's like, you know, they think they came up with that today. None of this is new. And all the philosophers and it's all, you know, come from this wisdom that was already established many, many years ago. But nobody knew how to decipher it or how to connect to it and how to awaken this practicality in our life. The next thing is, you know, the idea of these are the Toldot. This is the birth of Isaac. What other thing there is something that we can awaken. It says that before the creation of the world, there was a conversation. Should we create human or we shouldn't? Right? All the angels have a conversation with the Creator. Obviously, it's a metaphoric conversation. But all the angels says, you're gonna create a man. He's gonna fall. He's gonna hurt people. He's not gonna listen to you. He's gonna forget there is even creation. Right? We're all living in a total amnesia. Right? Tell me if you remember anything from creation. Nobody remember. How come you were there? Yeah, it was long ago. Many people living life, I forgot, using forgetfulness on a daily basis. No wonder we forget who we are. We forget how to use this mechanism, this vehicle that we got. We call body, we call soul, we call mind, we call heart. It's complete. It's technique. It's technology that we need to activate. So now go back to that story, and he says this man is going to fall. Is going to hurt people. Is going to damage everything in this world. Why do create him? He says, I tell you why. Because I created the process of correction before I created the falling. And this is the key. Most of us don't understand that, let's say last month or yesterday or today, some of us were like responsive in a very aggressive way, or we attacked someone in a negative way, or we spoke so bad, or we lash on somebody. You know why? The reason that you did it is because a correction for that, or meaning a completion, was created before the falling. Nobody fall before they receive the solution for the falling. It's not that somebody falling create negativity and then they looking for solution. That's the problem. The reason you fell is so you can start using this falling as a vehicle to help others. Most of us, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed of how I felt, how I behaved, what I've done, all of this. I don't want anybody to know. It's shameful. Please don't do it don't say to anybody on Instagram or block my Google or all of that. People worry. The reason you fell is because there's no other way for you to help people right in that particular moment in your life without that falling. What is falling? It's like downhill. You downhill, you remember every downhill, there is a uphill, right? And usually if you take the momentum downhill and you realize, well, I'm falling now because I know the solution already created before. Like, how do they say, the vaccination, right, comes from the venom, right? That's the poison, right? The vaccine comes from the poison, right? From the actual disease, from the actual virus. We know that the falling comes from fulfillment, comes from solution. And the only way you can activate the solution is in that going down, is in that falling. What a beautiful idea. Because this is the promise that we all came from a complete place to an incomplete place. But we already came equipped with all the solution. So therefore, I'm going back to the first beginning. If you fall into, oh, I didn't intend to have that. Why that's happening? I don't know why the relationship doesn't work. Of course, go back. Don't fall into it. And you will see a solution. And you will see what needs to be fixed in the seed level, in the DNA of why you started that business, why you started this relationship with this partner, why you opened it, why you moved to this apartment. Sometimes I see people moving to an apartment and it's only chaos there. Why? Oh, because it's, it's luxury, or people, oh, I'm living in this neighborhood. Yeah, but you're only suffering. Until you remove the attachment to how it looked like, what it sounds like, now you're going to have blessings in that apartment. But most of us don't even know that. Again, that's part of what can help us activating the solution already that already exists before the falling. Next, next idea, which is beautiful idea, speaks about in this portion about many wells that was dug by Abraham and Isaac. And then came the negative people called Pelishtim, and they covered those wells, right? Wells that they will have wells to, to build. They used to go and build wells so people can have, creating maybe a village there or some, settlement and so forth to develop that place. That's we're calling this the physical appearance of the reasons there. But let's understand the spiritual significance that is open for us in that particular week, today, this week. Because reminding you, we're not reading about a story about some people. We're reading and we're activating that energy that is appear cosmically today, this week. Right? Each one of us, as this Zohar of this week explained, we have a wellspring, overwhelming, endless wellspring of knowledge, of goodness, of kindness, of love. Look, some of you even speak in this term, and I always speak about it, and important to remind ourselves. Let's say I'm sharing this class. Imagine after the class, I'm sharing 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hanging out with some beautiful people around here. I come back, I'm exhausted. Oh, after the class, I'm exhausted. Can I be exhausted after the class? Is it possible that me sharing right now will get me exhausted? I'll be so tired. I mean, it never happened because it cannot happen. If you're truly sharing, if you truly are there in service for others, if you're truly there to support, to give, to listen, and you get exhausted and you get tired, oh, I shared all day, I helped people all day long. You didn't share at all. You tried to receive, you tried to take. You were a taker, and taker is wearing off. Your vessel wears off when you take. For example, you have a friend that comes to visit you, and you listen. And they tell you about the problems, and you heard those problems before, right? But you can say, it's a friend, I'm going to listen, and then after they go, oh, thank God they left. Wow, how long can I listen to this? I really have to go sleep, right? Oh, I need to have a drink, right? Why? Because there wasn't anything there that you added, or you didn't use the opportunity to really share. Even by listening is a very proactive, very active moment to listen. Most of us listen, and again, in our minds, like, oh, same story, right? Very important to shift. And when you shift, you connect it to that wellspring, that endless spring of water, that once you pierce into it, right? We have to find that where is it? And I shared before, for each one of us, there is like this moment when you pierce that, and it's endless. So this is the idea of the well. Now, they're not digging a well over there in the desert. It's us need to dig the well inside of us. Why? Because what we call the Pelishtim is represented, our negative actions, negative thoughts, negative emotions are like those, again, the story says that those people, Pelishtim, they went and they cover with dust, with dirt. They cover all the wellspring. This is what we're doing to our wellspring every single day. You know, we're going to a low place. It's like we took a shovel and we cover our well. We're going to, speaking bad. We took a shovel, boom, cover the well. Every time we allow ourselves to engage, to participate in this type of low existence, in the ESO type of existence, we're covering our own wellspring. And when we need energy, and then we go sharing, and then we go and helping and doing things, we don't feel the energy. We don't feel the light. We feel exhausted. So very important this week, what we have in this week is a beautiful gift. We can literally remove the dust. What is the afar? It's a very low place that you recognize about yourself. You're not running away from that. You recognize that, and you slowly ignite it in a place, again, with consciousness. I fell into this low place. I'm in this low type of reality right now, but it's only for the sake of me getting deeper into that wellspring, opening that. I went all the way down so I can take the, when you for example, have you ever seen a pool empty, right? A swimming pool empty. Usually in the bottom there's always leftover of water. Not everything is get drained, right? Same thing, right? I have to, because sometimes, even in like in your sink, right? Sometimes the water gets stuck. Why? Because you have to put your hand and take some kind of like hair or something got stuck, so you remove it from the drainage, and then all of a sudden it's clear the place. Same thing. Your well, your endless abundance of energy, of wisdom, right? That is inside of us is covered with dust. You have to dig deep and go and unlock that, right? And again, unlock it is all what we spoke before about these ideas of not selling myself so small, so easy, so cheap, like for a lentil soup. Then maybe one more point, and then we will end up here. Yeah. Oh, beautiful idea. Beautiful idea. It says that Rebecca, she told her son Jacob to go because his father Isaac is getting blind and is about to leave this world, and you need to receive the blessings from your father, and that blessing is blessing for generation. But he says, but the blessings is for my brother. He needs to receive the blessing for it. Esau is the firstborn. He says, okay, I'm going to disguise you as Esau. You're going to cook a meal like Esau will bring, right? You're going to give him like this offering, right? But he says, my brother is hairy, he's a lot of hair, and he's a hunter, and I'm not like that, So she dressed him up, cover himself with some hairy clothing, whatever it is. Okay, long story short, disguise him as Esau. He comes to Isaac, and Isaac says the word Hakol Kol Yaakov ve'ayadayim yadei Esav. The voice that I'm hearing is the voice of Jacob, but the hand that I'm touching is the hands of Esau. Again, there's so many beautiful secrets there. We're not going to get so deep into that. But for one thing, it's important to understand. Most of us are the opposite. This week, we want to change it. What does it mean? Most of us have the voice of Esau and the hand of Jacob. What do you mean the hand of Jacob? Oh, we look good. We talk nice talk. We pretending very well. Outside, it looks good, right? But really what speaks through but when you get a little bit deeper into the conversation, you realize the person is like the voice of negativity, voice of limitation. You're talking to many people from the outside, it seems amazing. Wow, they're doing great things, but what comes out of their mouth is nothing of inspiration, nothing of revelation, right? That's one aspect of that. Most of us needs to awaken here that we don't want to really just wear the clothing of righteousness. Imagine me sitting here disguised with all kind of like guruism things, or I will come to you as a big rabbi with a big beard and this and wearing a hat, and how are you going to look at me, right? How are you going to experience me? Sometimes the clothing, sometimes the outcome, the external limit, and sometimes people judging the external, right? And that is the idea. We want to connect to the voice of Jacob regardless of how we look like. Yes, I have the hairy hands. What do you mean? I don't look good in the outside, or I'm not the best in how how it look like. But the voice is the voice that comes directly from the Creator. So remember, most of us sometimes pretending everything look like perfect. We dress up nice, we cutting, we have the style, we have the hair, we have the jewelry, we have everything needed. But what comes out is nothing less than nothing more than Esau. What do you mean Esau? Very small, very insignificant, just for me. Just in the bottom line, I'm doing big thing, but in the bottom line, it tied up to my selfishness. This is what we want to remove in this week and awaken, remove the disguise that we're wearing ourselves. Yes, even if you look like Esau, you work hard, you're doing things, whatever it is. But remember the voice. The voice has to be activating through this wellspring, through this revelation that exists inside of you. This is the voice that we want to have this week. Again, there's so many beautiful revelations in this week. But you know what? I just want to share with you one last story that I shared in the last couple of weeks, because there's no coincidence. And I wanted to put it online, this story. Someone, shared with me this story. And then last Saturday, I was opening, I have many different books, and one of the books, like really literally a day after someone showing me a story, day later, I'm opening the book, like, again, it's not random, right? But I opened the book, the first page of the book, in the middle of the book, not like really know where I'm going. Boom, the same story. So I said to myself, you know what, that story needs to be shared. For whatever reason, it touches me, it touches many people. So I'll share with you, again, that idea, again, is also related to what we says, Toldot. It's a birth of, which means, let me share. So one day, there was this person worked for himself. He's a small contractor, right? So this lady from the neighborhood is a very poor neighborhood, and he's like the local type of like this young guy that wants to succeed, so he starts doing work for the neighbors here and there. So this woman inviting him to her house, and she said, "Listen, there's water coming out of the floor." He says, "Okay," and he look around. He sees she's very poor, and she have like 6 kids. It's like, oh man, this looks like a big job. I don't know what to do here, right? So he start opening one tile, and then start digging a little bit, and then he realized, wow, all the plumbing is rotten. There's no way I can fix something like that, right? So he started looking him, thinking. He says, you know what? I'm going to do it. He opened the whole apartment, right? He did such a job for like 4 or 5 days. He tear apart the apartment, changed all the plumbing, did everything new. Closed all the tires, and the woman, obviously, they realized such a big job. So she felt embarrassed, she doesn't know what to do. In the end of the job, she telling him, listen, it seems like you did such a great job. I don't know what's the price? He said, no, don't worry. I called the city, and they granted me to do this job based on a fund that exists for this old type of building. So don't worry, it's covered. I got the money already from the city, cash. I already have the money, so don't worry about it. She was so happy and so inspired and so excited. This guy, years later, he was able to promote his business, and he was able to build a very sizable business. And now he's going to development. One day he bought a land, and he took out all his money to buy the land and to develop a building on it. But he was short, right? Because he was like, get a loan from here, get a loan from there. It's a big job. He's sitting in his property, in his little office over there. All of a sudden, trucks full of cement and sand and all the equipment that he needs, and drywall, everything, load of plumbing, everything comes into it. Like 6, 7 trucks full of it. He stop. I didn't order that. He says, well, what do you mean you didn't order that? All the drivers coming with a paper, right? It says, this is the order. This is the place. Says, yes, but I didn't order that. He says, no, this is the order. I mean, it was already paid. So, he tried to argue with them. They dropped the stuff and left. The guy now stuck with all these things. He doesn't even know what to do with them. He looks at the receipt, goes to the office. Whoever sent it, all these trucks. He comes to the office. He tells the secretary, listen, this is me. I got all of that, but I didn't order that. She looked and says, oh yeah, you ordered that. It was paid. He says, but I didn't pay and I didn't order. There's a mistake. He says, there's no mistake. Take the stuff. Thank you, sir. He says, there's no way. He goes, I want to speak to the manager. He goes to the manager. He says, yeah, he's upstairs in the office. He goes to the manager, sir, listen, I don't want to offend you, but there is a mistake. There's no way. I didn't order all of it. I cannot even afford. I don't know how did it happen. He looked at it and says, yeah, it was paid by the city, actually cash. And then he looked at him and he was like, what? And the owner of this business looked at him and says, do you remember me? I was the child of the woman, and I knew you were lying about the city paying. And I was waiting more than 20 years to pay you back what you've done for us, how you changed our life, how my mom every single day blessed you. And all what I wanted to do is to pay you back. And that story for me, sometimes most of us, we're doing a small action and we, easily can tell that lady, I did it, it's on me, don't worry. It's so hard for us to do something that is, of course, it's the hardest thing for us. But I'm sure that's the right thing to do, regardless of when and if it's going to come back. And when you least expect it, way more comes back to you. I want to keep you with that story, with this love. Have a beautiful Thanksgiving wherever you are. Enjoy your family. Raise your appreciation. And I'll see you soon.